Hi, Black women. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Danny Ellison, a reparenting coach for Black women. I help them to recover and realign with their inner child after going no contact with abusive narcissistic mothers. And I am super excited for you to join me today because I have a very special guest who I am going to let introduce herself. Super excited to get into this no contact journey and all the many other topics I'm sure that we'll touch on. So without further ado, please, will you introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Elle. And thank you for having me, Danny. I'm so honored and so excited. This is just amazing. It's going to be a very powerful conversation. And when I'm not talking about going no contact with my mother, I help high achieving women escape the rat race and recover from burnout by creating the lives that they don't have to recover from. So
Amen.
holistic
Amen.
integration of all of that. And this
Yes.
is a huge part of anyway. Okay. I know we're gonna get into it. I'm just so excited. Okay.
Yes, thank you so much for joining me because I know talking about this aspect of your life is a choice,
Mm.
not an easy one, not one to be taken lightly, and it's not like directly connected, although I'm sure it ties into everything that you do.
Yeah.
So I just want to name, I really appreciate you being vulnerable and visible as a Black woman who has gone no contact, who has experienced narcissistic abuse of the mother. As I'm sure we're going to talk about, it is not easy to identify that way. It takes work to show up to that space. It's not free. It absolutely costs to
Yes.
identify with your truth in that fashion. So thank you. And I'll put it in the description. You recently on your channel told your story about going no contact, kind of what led up to it. And I know
Yeah.
we'll touch on that some more today, but I just again want to name how much I appreciate the way that you show up to telling your story with that truth and that boldness because there are just some parts of this no contact journey that are not pretty, that
Yeah.
are not, fuzzy cuddly. There's no way to make it better than what it is, and I just really appreciate you really staring that in the face and naming your truth with boldness. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Of
Thank
course.
you.
And then to get us started, will you please just share with us, did you know that no contact was for you? Did you always know that? Yeah, tell us, how did you come into going no contact with your mother?
I didn't know because I didn't even go no contact on purpose. I had started because I was just establishing, had come out of a really horrendous breakup,
Mhm.
and which my mother knew all of the details because she was there kind of as everything was coming to the surface. My ex is also a narcissist. So that was the thing that tipped me off.
Mhm.
And so my mom knew, and I just was establishing boundaries. I was like, I will call you then. And she kept crossing the boundaries. I kept establishing them. She kept crossing them. And, when you come out of now that was a narcissistic abusive relationship. So when you come out of it, you need recovery time, right? Like, and I didn't have any energy. I didn't have any emotional resources. I was
Yeah.
depleted. And the fact that she kept crossing them, I had to
Mhm.
keep using
Mhm.
all the energy I did have to keep putting up boundaries. I was like,
Yeah.
something has to change. And so
Mhm.
it took months for me to finally, even though I knew I had to put up a boundary, it took me months
Mhm.
to block, because I was living in Mexico at the time, to block her on WhatsApp. It was,
Mhm.
and I was like,
Mhm.
this is just temporary this is just temporary. I'm just going to block her. And I felt so guilty, honest, for block, because I was
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
that's my mom, all the
Mhm.
questions. But so that was the beginning of no contact. And as I learned more about narcissism, I was like, oh, she's never going to respect my boundaries. Like, this is not a
Mhm.
fluke.
Yeah.
This is just reality. But I hadn't seen
Yeah.
it until it was so severe.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Okay, so many different paths we could take. So, okay, I'm curious. You said as you learn more about narcissism, most narcissistic parents are not diagnosed. How did you respond to coming to that realization that mom pretty much fit this profile and what you experienced fit that sort of clinical profile?
It was a hard, my mom's a covert narcissist.
Hmm.
And so many of the stories about narcissists are like loud, yelling,
Yeah.
screaming, um, really
Hmm.
externally aggressive. And that's not my mom's way at all. She's
Yeah.
very warm. She's very likable. She's very, which are also qualities, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
she's very charming. She's very charismatic. Um, and so much of the narcissism, I call her a benevolent narcissist, right? So it was
Hmm.
like,
Yeah.
she paid for college out of pocket. I didn't have to take out any, like, it's all about money for her, but
Hmm.
all in the sense of generosity is how she contextualized it. So for me, it was like this, I had to untangle that was the hard part because I was like, I didn't grow up getting spanked. She didn't really
Hmm.
yell. She paid for the ABCD. I
Hmm.
never went without.
Yeah.
And so all these kind of traditional things of narcissism, I'm like, that's not it. But
Hmm.
there was neglect. So I talk about
Hmm.
it as narcissistic neglect because I
Hmm.
grew up with an abusive sibling and my mom was very
Yeah.
hands off, right? Like her mantra was, I'm not in this. This is sibling rivalry. You two figure it out yourselves. Meanwhile, I'm getting harmed by my sibling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it took years to unravel because I describe it as like walking into a spider web because
Hmm.
it's there, but you can't see it.
Hmm.
You don't know where it is. That's what made it so difficult to pinpoint.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I can feel the energy, and it feels like a scary movie to have to realize all these invisible strings that have been connected for years and years that you didn't even see, all while you
Definitely.
were growing up. And as you start to untangle one, you run into another. Very, very disorienting.
Very, very.
There's something about going no contact with your mother, not just the going no contact, it's the facing of the abuse, of the mental illness, of the dysfunction that triggers an identity crisis. And I think that's why so many of us avoid this particular journey,
Hmm.
why we would rather cling to a narcissistic family system, become an enabler, remain the scapegoat, live our lives for validation of others rather than pay the price of going within, because you really are triggering a psychosis of a sort, right? A voluntary up, upturning of your entire identity. Um, did you realize that's what you were doing as you did it, or did you sort of see that in hindsight?
I've always been the emperor has no clothes. I've always been the black sheep. I've always been heretical. I'm heretical by nature and not on purpose, right? Like I'm not trying
Hmm.
to rebel, push against. It's
Yeah.
just I always, you watch my video and I appreciate you so much.
Yeah.
And in the video, I talk about being in middle school and writing my mom a letter saying our family is dysfunctional
Hmm.
and like giving it to her, getting out of the car, going to the bus stop in good faith,
Yeah.
right? Like I wasn't trying to call her out. I was really like, I
Yeah.
love our family. And my family is teeny. It was me, my mom, and my sibling. That's it. That's who I grew up with.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm this
Mhm.
I'm making you aware, mom.
Yeah.
I want to loop you in. So I was never a people pleaser, right? Like
Mhm.
I don't have that functionality in me.
Yeah.
I was always the one like, just in case, just in case you don't know, this isn't okay, right? So
Yeah.
I didn't know,
Yeah.
but I think the biggest shock was that when I started having boundaries and then eventually went no contact, that I was going to lose everybody.
Yeah.
I was going to lose everybody who raised me,
Mhm.
everybody, because my mom is also a very well-known public person where I
Yeah.
live. So very well connected, very, all the things that
Yeah.
a lot of narcissists are.
Mhm.
I didn't know that all of that was contingent on my relationship with my mother,
Mhm.
that I didn't have my own relationship with people,
Mhm.
that once I was, that it was like I didn't exist.
Yeah.
That was the hardest, the most
Mhm.
devastating. Even saying it now, it brings up so much
Mhm.
pain
Yeah.
and grief because I'm like, y'all don't. Error.
Yeah.
That was hard. Because everyone would always be like, oh, she's doing her own thing, right? Me, like I will
Mm-hmm.
travel or they're like, oh, she's just so I thought, oh, they loved me for my for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No,
That's so interesting the way that we just assume that love is there because it's family, because we're friends. But those are the words that abusers use to program and indoctrinate their victims. Now, what comes up for me when you go to work and they tell you we're like a family here. hmm my skin crawls when please don't say that because we're not like a family here. Don't tell me that, right? Because it implies that there's love here and there's not love here. And we need to be super clear about that.
exactly.
And I think when you go no contact, when you start to make choices, when you really embrace who you are, that means realigning with that inner child. That means showing respect to your shadow, right? Learning to love all of yourself, not just the parts of yourself that are pleasing to others.
Hmm.
When you take that on, you have to see the truth that you may love yourself, you grow into unconditional love for yourself. But the people around you, the people who come from what you come from, do not unconditionally love you.
At all.
They or themselves for that matter. They conditionally approve of you. They show you merit-based favor. They associate themselves with you when it's favorable for them within the family system. But the second that you actually step outside of the parameter of their comfort zone and what benefits them and require unconditional love, it dries up.
Danny, I had no idea. What you're saying is my complete experience. And no, I had no idea. I bought the myth of the family hook, line, and sinker. I
Yeah.
I was totally indoctrinated right into this
Yeah.
idea that my family loves me, has my
Mm-hmm.
back.
Mm-hmm.
We're a family. And
Yeah.
I think I know that again, I'm heretical by nature. I know that because I've always been self-led, self-possessed, I'm naturally triggering to people, like people,
Mm.
but I had
Yeah.
some kind of protection, I guess, when I was still in relationship with my mother, because
Mm-hmm.
she has a lot of
Mm-hmm.
social
Yeah.
clout, right? So it'd be like, but when I think the triggering, and to your point, I think a lot of people are in relationships, family dynamics with narcissists and don't have the courage to go no contact. And so that also is triggering because they're like, I'm just going to be the scapegoat. I'm just going to be the
Mm-hmm.
collateral damage. I'm just going to do this. How dare you?
Mm-hmm.
How dare
Right.
you?
Because there's so much guilt. It's like for most people, the guilt, the shame, the fear, the shadow of them from a
Yes.
distance is frightening enough that they won't even approach actually going no contact, actually respecting themselves and setting boundaries and centering their intuition. It's for most people that holds them at bay, right? The matrix
Mhm.
does its job and keeps them in position.
Yep.
But when you're willing to get up close and you see that they're not even as scary as they appeared from a distance, you get past the shame, the fear, the guilt, and you get out there and see that you're better off, there is grief associated with that.
Huge.
And it's so confusing. That first year of no contact, I think is the hardest part. It's so easy to get turned around, sidetracked, detoured to go back because at least that makes sense and is straightforward.
Mhm.
So there's so many different versions of the obstacles that you face, right? When you're crossing through that liminal space that you kind of just throw yourself into when you go no contact. How was that grief for you? Like the withdrawal, you mentioned some guilt. What else did you face in that immediate period after going no contact?
I think it was shock. That was my biggest
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
I like my family is small, like I said, and
Hmm.
even my mother, I don't have a relationship with my paternal family at all. My parents divorced when I was 2, so I don't have a relationship with my dad or that side of the family. He's one of 10 kids. So I have first cousins, I have uncles and aunts. I have all this, but I don't know any of them. So that leaves my mother's side. And my grandfather was a Rolling Stone.
Mhm.
So my mom has siblings 30 days younger than her, like, all kind of
Mhm.
things. So I have also cousins on that, but the family I grew up with is very tiny. And the uncles that I knew from my mom didn't have kids. So I don't have first cousins in that way. So
Yeah.
that family that I grew up with. So, but I thought that even that family, and I have a lot of chosen family in Seattle that I was raised with, that when the what's the grist hit the mill, whatever the phrase is, that they would have my back, right? Like,
Mhm.
and I think the shock of like being really alone
Mhm.
took
Mhm.
me probably even longer than that window of a year. It took me a couple
Yeah.
of years to see, accept,
Mhm. Yeah.
and live with, like,
Mhm.
and they knew.
Mhm.
It wasn't that they didn't know, it was that they would rather play the role, I guess. And even
Sure.
that's the biggest. It was never really like something's wrong with me, but it was just
Mhm.
like, what is happening? Like the narcissistic relationship distorted my reality. That's what really turned my world upside down, because I was in a relationship for 3.5 years with someone who
Yeah.
didn't exist, was a full-blown narcissist personality disorder
Yeah.
psychopath, right? Like,
Mhm.
and a
Mhm.
figment of their own imagination. So that distorted my reality. So in the midst
Mhm.
of me
Yeah.
trying to piece my psyche back together is when I realized, oh, my
Mhm.
mom's a narcissist. That's And
Yeah.
so all of that took years of recovery, years of self-recovery, because my psyche was just blown to pieces. I couldn't really function because
Sure.
everything I thought was real wasn't.
Mhm.
Does
Yeah. I mean, that's PTSD. That's PTSD, right? The shell shock.
That's right.
The like it's like you have to be there. You have to live that experience to know what it feels like to turn around and look at the life that you live and see a devastation like a bomb went off.
That's exactly right. That's
Did you
exactly right.
did you gaslight yourself? Did you go through a period of like, oh my God, did that happen? Was that real? Did I
Not
actually
with
live
my
through that?
mom, because I had so many years of documented
Mhm.
evidence. Like, that was a very anchored truth for me. But
Mhm.
with my ex,
Yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
I had a friend who's still one of my closest friends to this day, who was friends with my ex. Actually, met my ex on the night that I saw this friend. We were all out together. So that my
Mhm.
friend had seen the before, during, and after of that whole narcissistic explosion. And
Mhm.
so that is the only
Mhm.
person that I would be like, did that really happen? Like,
Yeah.
am I exaggerating? Did I make this up? Like, this sounds so crazy. Am I
Yeah.
delirious? And my friend was like,
Yeah.
no, they did pretend to attempt suicide and were hospitalized for a week and were sleeping with their drug dealer and were using drugs, even though they said
Oh.
had been sober for 4 years, and were selling drugs and living in your mom's house for a year and storing their drugs in your mom's car. Yeah, all that did happen. And I was like, okay, so periodically I would have to message my friend, like, because I don't know nothing about drugs. I haven't seen, I don't, that's not
Yeah.
my, it was like a different world. So I had
Mhm.
to be like, am I imagining things? So that was the only person who was
Yeah.
like, you are not, you are not
Mhm.
imagining things. That
Yes.
did happen. But that's what I mean when I say my psyche was blown apart. Like, I
Mhm.
couldn't,
Mhm.
thankfully, I didn't lose my mind,
Yeah.
but I lost, like,
Mhm.
like reality. I used to feel like, okay, I can touch this. I know what this. And then when all that happened, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't trust it anymore.
Mhm. Oh my gosh, the way that the aftermath makes you doubt your relationship with yourself, your ability to trust yourself,
Yeah,
that has to all be rebuilt from the ground up. You have to relearn what reality is,
that's right.
right? When you live in gaslight and you don't even know.
That's right.
When they really have you hook, line, and sinker, like you said, and you actually are sitting there like, wait a minute, I thought you said that, but did you say maybe I remember, do I remember something different now? Maybe I'm wrong, right? When you actually reach that state of being controlled and manipulated by a person, it's mind control. It's a type of psychological abuse that is really, I just watched a documentary last night about a cult. I'm not even gonna say the name of the cult, but I just watched it on Netflix. This is a cult.
It is.
Yes. And the fact that you were in a family system of all Black women, I think probably made it even harder for you to step away, even more believable for you to be enticed by the illusion, because these are Black women. It's your mother, it's your sister, right? This is you. So there isn't even a way to distance yourself from your abuser because they're Black, they're woman, they're your mom, they're your sibling. The level of mind control and violation that you must have felt to unpack all of that is really, really intense.
And I'm still unpacking it. Like
Mhm.
I'm still, because I miss my mom.
Yep.
I miss belonging to a
Mhm.
family. Humans, as mammals, we are made to belong. Like it's
Mhm.
so unnatural to
Yeah.
not be a part of something.
Something. Yeah.
I grieve. That's what I grieve, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I think I've been thinking about this a lot lately, maybe in preparation for our conversation.
Mhm.
Um, but I've been thinking about a lot because it's like on one hand, no, I won't go back because it's not
Mhm.
safe.
Right.
That's the only fail safe, right? Like
Right.
I I love my mom. I love hanging out with my mom. We have a good time when it's just the two of us. We're
Mhm.
fine. It's as if my
Mhm.
sibling, I hate to say it like that, but it wasn't part of the dynamic.
Mhm.
My relationship with my mom, for all intents and purposes, is fine. But because my sibling is part of the dynamic and is abusive and is unsafe, and my mother is
Mhm.
in denial and allowing and enabling, I know it's not safe for me because even when I bring the truth and say,
Mhm.
protect me, or this isn't safe, and my
Right.
mom just turns a blind eye and throws up her hands, there's no way
Right.
around that.
You have to choose between yourself,
Yeah,
your survival, your primal instincts, and pleasing another person. Essentially, that is what the narcissist brings you face to face with.
that's right.
If I cannot count on you for any sort of protection, consideration of me as another person, if you don't love me as you love yourself, then I can't just live my life betraying myself to side with you against me. That's unnatural.
That's right.
And really, it's sounding like a demonic influence. Like I want you to put me up on a pedestal and make me an idol. I want you to deny your primal instincts, deny your holy, sacred right to protect yourself, to thrive, to value your own well being, and just lay down before my feet.
Danny, you know what the biggest turning point revelation for me was?
Mm,
And again, this is years into no contact. This is
mhm,
years into my process.
yeah,
And I've never articulated this out loud because I feel like nobody would understand. I know you understand it, but
yeah,
no, before this conversation, I felt like
yeah,
nobody would understand it.
yeah,
I had a revelation. It just came to me. Thank God. My mother is not my higher power. It,
right,
my mother is not my God,
yeah,
but because it's so she's like, again, she's not saying that, right? But it's
mm-hmm,
so subtle, but that was the positionality. That was the
mm-hmm,
expectation that
right,
I was cleaved to her. Like I was, as you narcissist, we don't individuate, right? That's what we're taught.
mm-hmm,
We are infantilized, we're
mm-hmm,
parentified, but we don't individuate. We are just a representation of the narcissist.
right,
And it took me years but I wasn't contemplating it. When it was revealed to me, I was like, that's what's had me yoked up.
mm-hmm,
That she is my higher power.
mm-hmm,
That she is my God.
mm-hmm,
And she's not.
right, right. Right. Wow. to unbelieve the lie is to really undo, it's to uninstall your mother as your parent
That's it.
because she installed herself within you. It's, oh my God, it's like malware. Like she installed herself
Oof,
as your
oof.
idol. Long before you could consent to that, long before you had any sort of awareness, and you have to go all the way back to the beginning, to
That's
the
right.
foundations of who she made herself to you, and replace that with something new in order to get free.
That's right.
And when you do that, even though you're doing the right thing for you, you feel fear, shame, like I'm being bad, I'm gonna get
I'm
in
being bad.
trouble. Yeah, I'm not supposed to be doing this.
Mhm,
I'm going to get in trouble for obeying God, for obeying my own intuition, my own primal instincts instead of you.
mhm.
That's like MK Ultra level mind
It
control.
is. It is. And the way I describe it, because from the outside looking in, and even often from the inside, I had a lot of freedom, right? Like my mom's very progressive in a lot of ways. Like she's
Mhm,
not controlling again in this traditional sense. So I always say I was in a cage, but it was a big cage. It
mhm.
was a cage though. It
Yeah.
wasn't free. It was a cage. So other people are like, but you've been traveling. You've always done this. Your mom's always supported you with this and that and that. But it
Mhm,
was a cage because that, what you just is that was the factor. That was the malware. No matter how big the cage is, the virus had been planted that
mhm.
I still defer to her. It's just that her rules are unconventional, right? Like her rules are, my mom's more of a free spirit. She's also a traveler. She's also open-minded, right? So it's not going to look like a very rigid
Mhm.
rule book, but it's a
Right.
rule book nonetheless.
Yeah.
It wasn't about my own autonomy.
Right. Your Even your desire for your own autonomy is a betrayal of your narcissistic parent.
That's right.
It's almost like those of us, our ancestors who were enslaved, who were so indoctrinated to the plantation that they revered it, right? That, well, master's not even that bad.
Oh,
Look at all that we have. What are you talking about? Freedom. What? Look at everything. We're lucky. Do you know we could have it worse? Have you heard
uh,
about the plantation down the road? Have you heard about
oh,
that? Did you hear what happened? Master is good to us. You need to be appreciative. You need to
that's right.
behave yourself.
Oh,
You need to be grateful, complacent, and empty your head of those silly ideas of freedom.
it it's so that's why it took me like I'll give an example from when I was in maybe elementary, middle school. And you know the Big Brothers Big Sisters program.
Mhm,
And a friend of mine whose mother was friends with my mother, another she was 2 years older than me, this friend, but our moms were friends, was in the Big Sisters program. And I'm the oldest. And I was like, I want a big sister, right? Like I want a big sister too, because I did
mhm.
want a big sister.
Yeah.
And my mom said, was angry, angry. She was like, you can no, that program is for girls with no moms.
Mhm.
Now, again, the person who had told me she was in it had a mom. Her mom was friends with my mom.
Right.
But my mom was like, I think, thought that that
Mhm,
was going to undermine her as the top dog. And so so that, I remember that, right? Because I knew some of it wasn't right, but I didn't have the power to say it. But
mhm,
something that I've had to accept, another thing I've had to accept, even I think at this point, it's less shocking to me, but that my mom lies, that she's a liar
yeah.
because she's, a woman of the church, all the
Yeah.
things. And again, warm and friendly and very likable. So, and values honesty and, all the things, but she lies.
Yeah. Yeah. That will stop you in your tracks.
It did because I believed her.
Hmm.
I trusted her. As my mom, like she's not gonna lie to me.
Right.
But when I look back at the pattern, she's always lied to me. Not about everything, but consistently.
Hmm. And in a calculated pattern. I think that really is the scary part.
Yes,
When you can see the pattern and the pattern is nearly indetectable, you have to become a psychological forensic psychologist to even get the suggestion of the pattern before
that's
you,
right.
let alone articulate it to another person so that they can see it and not think that you're crazy. Right? So you're just left sitting with this awareness. It's crazy making. It's isolating.
It is because I was like, no one else sees this.
Hmm.
No, because
Yeah.
she's larger than life. She's charming. She's
Mhm.
likable. I always say my mom has a long rope,
Mhm.
right? Some narcissists are you can see their transactions quickly. You can see it
Yeah.
and no, my mom plays the long game.
Yeah.
That transaction may not come around for a few years, but then you're on the hook. Then you're
Mhm.
in,
Mhm.
but I did find another childhood friend who I grew up with who, as an adult, had a run-in with my mom. I mean, they were in a community together, and she began to see my mother's narcissism, and so that was maybe the third person who could be
Yeah.
like, "Oh no, I do see it," but everyone else is in
Mhm.
her cult or her cronies, as I call them.
Yeah, that is wow, that is so overwhelming. It's a lot to sit with.
It is.
And so I meant to address earlier when you talked about how everyone gradually walked away or was taken away.
Yeah.
Again, to go back to the cult, it's like the price that you pay for walking away is they snatch your whole identity, right? Like now you're not even allowed to be you, to tell your story, to use your voice because of all of the layers and layers of retaliation that are stacked against you. Wow, that's a lot. That is a lot to recover from. Did you seek treatment? Did you have a therapist? How did you come out of that?
I had a therapist. At a point, I had two therapists at the same time.
Yeah.
But, and the first one that I worked with her for several years. And I think, I really think anybody could have been fine because I was in such psychological
Mhm.
crisis that I just needed someone to triage me,
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
like, you're not crazy.
Mhm.
Let's
Yeah.
just slowly put your psyche back together.
Yeah.
And then the other therapist was okay. I worked with her for 6 months. She was okay. But I think what I've learned, and I'm curious about if this is your experience or your thoughts about this, is like the permission I've given myself is that my needs are way higher than I thought they were. My emotional
Mhm.
needs,
Yeah.
way higher. My psychological needs,
Mhm.
high.
Yeah.
Like that's is why I'm also not, even though I love people and I'm very social, I'm an introvert, but I'm social. I
Mhm.
love like being out and about, but
Yeah.
I'm not interested in making new friends for real because I
Yeah.
don't know, because I don't think most people have the capacity to handle my emotional
Mhm.
needs.
Yeah. That, oh my gosh. I feel like you just read my diary out loud. That is crazy. I feel that for real, man. I was just thinking about this last night because when you really decide, first of all, when you really have trauma to face, I think that's part of it. Not everybody has adversity that they have to go through, not always to these extreme levels, not always in their early childhood or directly involving their parents, right? Like you
Yeah.
can't hit closer to home than that. So when you actually have that significant burden of adversity to navigate, and then you decide to overcome it rather than allow it to overcome you and just steal your life, right? When you actually do that, you create such a high capacity for grace, for love, for
Yes.
self care, right? You are elevating yourself in a way above the average person. You become healthier than the typical person. So now, but see, that's how you so easily get labeled, because now when you go around people, now you're too sensitive, now you acting funny, now you bougie because you can't do this and you can't do that. You got a problem with this, you don't want to be around them. All the energy bothers you, right? The low vibrational conversations, you have to like, right?
Yep.
So you do end up, and I think a lot of not just women, but a lot of people on a healing journey find themselves in that isolation. I don't know the great way out of that. Now, the thing is, I think you stay committed, right, to your
Yeah.
peace. You continue not to settle, and you'll attract the people who align with you. And I have had to tell clients who are like, I have no friends now, right? I'm so deep into healing now. I just sit here and stare at the walls. You will get to the place that you connect with people, that community is safe, that it's even time for community.
Yeah.
But that period of isolation during the healing journey, after you come out of that initial, aftermath of going no contact, is necessary, because you have to know yourself so well,
Yeah.
because you don't have that mirror of your mother in your life.
That's right.
You have to know yourself as a woman so well that you can go into a space with new people and personalities and not lose yourself, not lose your perspective, know when you need to react, right? Know when it's time to get up and walk away. You become headquarters for yourself.
That's it.
So it takes time to invest in that relationship with you, with your inner child, with your shadow, to
Mhm.
be able to safely go and hold your own socially. And yeah, that's pretty deep down the healing journey path. Like, that is an advanced level that we don't always get to, that we definitely are not talking about enough.
Mhm.
But I feel like I'm stepping into it, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's huge. Something else that I've realized is to what you name, like my capacity. I think part of being in this enmeshed codependent family that I grew up in is like as the caretaker, right? Like I
Mhm.
was emotionally responsible for a lot in my house and
Yeah.
and had without having my emotional needs met. So that's
Mhm.
given me a capacity, but it was always at my detriment, right? The people I dated, I could listen and raise you and hold you and love you, but it wasn't
Yeah.
reciprocal. And so
Right.
now part of that vetting for me is like, are you asking me questions? Are
Right.
you curious about me? Do you, because I'm gonna ask a question. I'm nosy and curious and I want to know all the things, I'm like,
Yeah.
and I'm a good listener and
Right.
I love people. I
Yeah.
genuinely am curious. But when it's not when I'm not met with that, I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't do it because I know
Mhm.
I this is an
Yeah.
aside, but I'm I signed up for trusted house sitters again recently
Mhm.
and was interviewing for a house sit in England.
Mhm.
And we were interviewing for the house sit.
Yeah.
This man and I listened for an because it was interesting what he had to say, but nothing about the after we talked about the dog in the house. He talking about he's in England, talking about
Mhm.
politics, American politics, his perspective, the thing.
Mhm.
Oh, and I'm
Mhm.
listening. And at the end of it, because I was curious, again, this is
Mhm.
why it gets me caught up, because I'm
Yeah.
genuinely curious.
Yeah.
And at the end, he was like, "You're such a good listener." And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." You know, because when I
Mhm.
thought we were having a
Mhm.
conversation initially, and then I
Mhm.
was like, "Oh no,
Mhm.
he doesn't care what I have to say.
Right.
He's just talking."
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm still
Mhm.
figuring out that
Mhm.
balance with myself because
Yeah.
it's for me, it's not fawning, like it's not
Mhm.
for them. I'm naturally a curious person, but I sometimes have to reel myself back in because people should be paying me for the
Yeah.
quality of listening skills that I have, which
That's
is
what I
why
was
I
gonna
have my
say.
business, right?
Mhm.
But like a house sitting interview,
Mhm.
so I'm still figuring that out. I don't have that down yet.
Yeah, that really resonates, because I'm drained just thinking about the hour-long interview, right? But just to be able to see that from a distance, like as it's happening, like, oh, this man is swiping my energy right now.
That's right.
Okay. All right, this is what's happening. At least you can observe it. That is a starting place.
Yeah.
because there might have been a time in the past where you fell
Oh,
into the like, oh, okay, he likes that I'm a good listener. Let me be a good listener. What else do you want to tell me?
yeah.
Right. And then seek his approval, being such a good listener and validating his random asides. Did I get the house sit? Yay, I got validated, right? Like there's an alternate reality where that was a choice that you might have made because that's what you were conditioned to do.
That's right. One of the things that saved me years ago was making this distinction in my mind. Would someone pay me for this conversation?
Mhm,
And if people I was dating or interested in dating were trauma dumping or trauma bonding or trying,
mhm,
I was like, oh no, this is what people pay me to do.
mhm,
We can't.
mhm.
That
Yep.
was where I had to. But before that,
Yeah.
that would be all
Yeah.
doing all kind of work
Yeah. Yeah. For free. Oh
for
my
free.
goodness. Yes. That really resonates. And it's so challenging to set those sort of boundaries with your family. With your family? Like, are you kidding me? You go to set emotional boundaries with the black women who raised you, and they will look at you like you are crazy. And they're going to try you.
Oh
Whatever it is
yeah,
whatever you said, okay, challenge accepted. Maybe not right at this moment, but we definitely putting this to the test. You're not about to put emotional boundaries in place with me, and I was here on the first day of your life. You're not telling me what to do. You're not telling me how to treat you. I'm gonna talk to you how I feel like, and you're not gonna do anything about it. So let me go ahead and reinforce that with my behavior. Let me set us up for an episode. Let us go through another repetition of the cycle of abuse so that you can remember your place because you upset in the balance. Right? I cannot coexist with your boundaries. Your boundaries are a threat to my life source. Yeah.
and when that's normalized, when that's just the air.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like I said, my mom wasn't
Hmm.
a screamer, but she would, when it got to that point, the silent treatment, she would just stop talking to me. Like
Hmm.
just stop
Hmm.
talking. And I would be confused because I was like, I thought we were having a conversation. I remember
Hmm.
one time I was at my yoga teacher training. I was sitting on the porch. I remember exactly the weather. I was in Rhode Island. I was on the phone with her she was in Seattle, and she was complaining about my stepfather. And I literally thought we were just having a conversation. And I don't remember what I said. She did yell at this point though. But I was like, something like I just maybe addressed it or was like suggested a boundary or something. And she screamed at me. It was so rare that she screamed at me. I remember she railed. And I was like, I thought we were just talking. But I hit up whatever her thing was, and it was trigger. So she was so enraged that I would dare have a boundary with her that I was shocked. It was shock again. Shock was the thing because it was abnormal, but also what's the word I'm looking like in a not it was like this big of a sentence to this big of a response. It's like it
Hmm.
was like,
Hmm.
where is this coming from? But it was all directed at me.
Yeah. Sounds like the mask slipped for some reason.
That's right.
Hmm. Yeah. Those
That's right.
moments can be really scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, especially you were on the phone. When those moments happen and you're like together in the same space, it puts you in immediate fight or flight because anything can happen, right? Yeah, scary movie vibes.
Truly.
Anything can happen. And when you're a child and that level of uncertainty is just looming over every conversation, right? You have modified yourself to stay safe on to such a degree you don't develop your actual self. You're surviving,
You're surviving.
you're masking, you're coping until it becomes a way of life.
It's part because my mom was a neglectful narcissist
Hmm.
and was very hands off.
Yeah,
I had a lot of space to explore myself.
yeah,
I was on my own, and she would always say that I was resourceful. which I am, right? Like
Yeah.
that's a great thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't need to be resourceful as an 8-year-old. You know,
Right.
I didn't need to be figuring out the bus schedule as a 10-year-old. I didn't need to be that
Right.
resourceful. Like,
Right.
so I had room to kind of stretch into myself, and I think I understand myself, but there was still a lot of vulnerability and lack of protection. Thankfully, I feel like I have been covered in a lot of ways my whole life. So where I could have been harmed, I wasn't.
Mhm.
But it wasn't because my mother protected me. God protected me. You know, the
Right.
divine protected me,
Right.
not other ways.
Yeah. So let's see. How long have you been no contact at this point?
7 years.
7 years. Yeah. So in 7 years, the no contact journey goes through many phases, many ups and downs. What's the hardest part for you at this point?
Mm. I miss having a family. I miss belonging. I miss being known.
Yeah.
I miss being loved.
Yeah.
Like really being, I know it sounds contradictory, but it's like I miss being adored. My mom is a very, again, warm
Mhm.
and adoring person
Yeah.
within the golden cage,
Right.
right? As
Right.
if outside the golden cage, I don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
If I am in the cage, so I miss that
Yeah.
belonging,
Mm-hmm.
that I belong to someone, that
Mm-hmm.
someone knows me, that someone loves me. That's
Yeah.
the hardest because there's only one person I have that relationship with, which is my mom.
Yeah.
And the hard part is that it's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
So even if I were to go back tomorrow and she would be so happy to see me and she would
Mm-hmm.
welcome me, she would,
Yeah.
but it would still be a lie because she wouldn't, it would be transactional. It wouldn't be safe. It would just be as long as I played the game. And that's the part that's the hardest part too, because it's not, as you said, it's not unconditional. It's just play by my rules,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
which I can't do.
Yes. Because it's death, because it requires your soul to die. Like who you actually are has to slowly wither for you to go and live that
That's right.
lie. Because yourself cannot, because yourself is not loved in that space. Yourself has to die for you to be there.
That's right.
That environment asks yourself not to exist.
That's right.
So you literally have to choose. And you're not wrong. I know you're not wrong, but it just needs to be said. We're not wrong for choosing to protect ourselves.
It does need to be said over and over and over again because that's the hardest because no one else says it.
Hmm.
If we don't say it,
Hmm.
no one else is saying it.
No one else will say it. And that is so crazy because the other people who should be saying it at the primary level, it's the Black women who have raised us.
When you said that, that's who flashed into my mind. The Black women who, my aunties, so I called my
Hmm.
aunties.
Yeah.
That's who flashed into all of them, right? Like, and it was maybe 3 or 4 of them who
Hmm.
saw the abuse, who saw the harm, who saw it.
Hmm.
And I think my kind of unhealed expectation has been and maybe still is that they'll be like, no, we get it.
Hmm.
We get it. And we're sorry. Like that, I think that's what I want
Yeah.
and is never coming.
Right. And that's so unfortunate because that vulnerability, right? The humility, the accountability that comes
Mm.
along with that conversation would be a symptom of generational healing, right? That's how it the healing would overflow. Your healing would touch the next level of generation, right? They see the transformation that you've gone through and they can't go back to change the role that they played, but they can at minimum allow themselves to feel the genuine sorrow, right? But in order to step into that space, you have to release control. You have to stop controlling the narrative and trying to avoid being labeled or blamed or shamed. And the reason why they resist are and become enablers, right? That's what they are, enabling family
That's right.
members who keep the narcissist in power,
That's right.
is because they're so relieved that you are holding the space of victim. That's what makes you the scapegoat. That's what makes you the black sheep, right? As long as you are in place, I call it a spiritual service, right? We provide a spiritual service to our
Ooh,
narcissistic family system. We hold the space for all their hatred, all their negativity, all the wickedness, all of the shadow elements of themselves that doesn't fit into the we're a perfect family image is stored within you. And as long as you are mind controlled into shutting up about it, into not calling it what it is, right? Into not requiring better treatment, into not walking away, they get to stay together as the
that's
perfect
right.
family, right? They're not feeling isolated without belonging. They have each other.
That's right.
They may be recycling negativity and calling it jokes or love or whatever, but they're not feeling alone.
That's right.
They're just feeling miserable with company.
Which is different.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's different. That's
Yeah. So when you come around, right, and you have all this pure energy stored up because you've been on your own, you've been healing, you've been purifying your energy. You just want the best for everybody. You want to see healing for everybody. And you come around, you're the perfect target.
that's right.
You're the perfect target. Yeah.
That's right. I think that's still, I mean, I feel I'm much farther into my acceptance of that than I was years ago, but
Mhm.
it still is a lot to wrap my head around. You
Yeah.
know, it's still because there's no, I have no refuge, right? Like my mom and stepfather divorced, but he's still very much in her
Hmm.
cult
Yeah.
and has betrayed me to her, even though they're divorced. Like there's, that's so it's still hard for me to wrap my head around that people, I thought he was a safe space. I
Hmm.
thought he
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
He lives in Louisiana. She lives in Seattle. They've been apart for over 10 years.
Yeah.
He says what he sees, right? But he's still cleaved to
Hmm.
her. So which is just speaking to what you're naming, like it's people choose
Hmm.
to be unhealthy in community, unhealthy together than
Hmm.
healing apart.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's not for everybody, right? Like I'm sure you see from standing in the space on your own, not everyone is made for this journey,
Oh yeah.
right? It's not for every, like anybody else in your family system could not have stood in the space that you hold.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No. Even like my stepsister, her dad married my mom when I was 16, she was 15. She
Hmm.
lived in California, but she would come up every summer. And eventually she stopped coming up because the chaos was too much in our house. Right. She's the one who at 20 in 2020 in the pandemic, she's the one who was like started to give real language to what she had experienced and validated my experience. Before that, it was just my childhood best friend who had validated it.
Yeah.
And she was the one. So she knew and she was like, this is why I don't mess with your mom. This is da da da, like all the things. She was like, this is, I remember this in childhood and this in childhood and this is da, da, like all the things. So I
Hmm.
was like, yeah, that is what happened. That's exactly it.
Hmm.
But even her, and she has her own relationship with her dad and mom, her mom and my,
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm.
this critical thing. And I'm like, why doesn't she have other boundaries? Like why she sees it and
Hmm.
and prides herself on being a straight talker, right?
Yeah.
Even though I don't know that I would say that, but that's what how she
Yeah.
thinks of herself. Even her, the only family member that I was still in contact with, literally the only one, we would talk regularly, maybe a couple times a month.
Hmm.
And then October 2023, she stopped calling me back.
Hmm.
She stopped. I would call. called multiple times and
Yeah.
she just stopped calling me back. Fast forward to May of 2025. So a year and a half later,
Yeah.
and my phone has been on silent for 10 years. So like on do not disturb. Like
Yeah.
it never rings. It just goes straight to
Yeah.
voicemail. She left me a voicemail on my birthday that said, "Hi, this is your long lost sister. Hope that you're doing well. I'll call you. I'll try and call you back." That was May 8th. Today is
Mhm.
June 26th, and I haven't heard anything from her. So that
Mhm.
I think is that kind of, and that's, she's not the only person who's known
Mhm.
everything and chosen to cut me off essentially.
Yeah.
And I think that shocks me too, because these are the kind of things that I have to like make peace with or accept,
Mhm.
because I'm like, in my mind, which I've learned now is not everybody's mind, but in my mind, I'm like, if you know the whole story
Mhm.
and you've seen it,
Yeah.
then you're going to have a little bit of compassion. And if you're like, you know, I don't want to talk to you anymore, at least you will tell me that.
Mhm.
Like you will give me enough,
Mhm.
not enough grace
Mhm.
to communicate that so I can
Mhm.
know that and not just
Yeah.
think that we're in a family together.
Right.
And what I've had to accept is that people don't do that. People do
Right.
what they want,
Right.
and the what they know is irrelevant.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm still learning that.
Mhm. Yeah, we definitely are not talking about that enough. And I feel like it's a canon event
Mm,
because when you are the one who is the cycle breaker, the
yes.
whistleblower, the truth teller, right? You have these one-on-one connections, especially when you haven't realized yet you have to let go of everybody or they're going to let go of you.
Mm,
You have these one-off connections, right? And honestly, it makes me think about, I'm thinking about Jesus and the disciples, how he was able to have these connections in private or in small groups, right? Where you
mm,
see my divinity. I'm a blessing directly to you. You know who I am. But when they're witnesses, right? When they come around, you deny me. Not once, not twice, but three
3
times,
times. That's right.
right? And it's like a reinforcing of that initial abandonment wound
Yes.
when you have someone who you think is a safe person,
That's
someone
right.
who's close to you. Like, okay, I accept that my circle has been shaken. My parents are cut off, this and that person are cut off, this had to change, that had to change, but I still get my good auntie and my favorite cousin, right? Like, damn, do I get anybody at all? No, nope. Those are the ones. Those are the ones who sit up with you and go over the details and hear it all and agree with you and say, oh my gosh, this and that's fascinating. And wow, right? I never realized that. I never thought about that. They agree and they see all the points that you make, but
Right.
then they're not willing to stand with you in that space of truth in front of everyone else because it will cost them. It will cost them their privileges in the family system, right? They need to be able to safely come and go between your energy and the collective because that's how they're surviving. They may see the matrix for what it is, but they're not willing to
Mm.
sacrifice their life, right? Running for freedom is a risk of your life. But Harriet Tubman said, give me liberty or give me death.
That's right.
So if you don't have that resilience within you that refuses to be enslaved anymore, you'll just figure out how to coexist.
That sounds like hell to me.
It does sound like hell.
I I'm always going to bet on myself.
Mhm.
Now, I didn't know that that was going to come with this level of isolation,
Yeah.
but I'm always going to bet, because why would I bet on these jokers
Mhm.
and pretend and mask and
Mhm.
lie and it doesn't make sense to me.
It's because privilege comes with it because they are not the scapegoat, you are. So they always have you to step on. It's just like non-black women and black women and people of color and black people.
Right.
Like, we are not living the same experience here.
At
You
all.
always have the privilege of not being me. You always have me to step up on as your footstool, and you collectively oppress me with everybody else because it directly benefits you. You may be the closest one to me, you may be the first foot on my neck, but we're not the same.
We're not the same. I completely agree. Something that you said on our when we were in the on the panel with on Dr. Kimani's channel
Mhm,
uh, is about coming out of narcissistic abuse, narcissistic neglect, and recognizing neurodivergence, that you might the impact of that.
mhm,
Because I have self-diagnosed, I've not had taken any formal tests,
mhm.
but I have first I self-diagnosed as autistic. I was
Yeah,
like, I think I'm autistic.
yeah,
I think I'm autistic. It took
yeah.
it never occurred to me. And
Mhm.
then I was like, and then a friend of mine who is ADHD was like, have you considered that you might be
Yeah.
ADHD? And I was like,
Mhm,
no, girl, I'm not. And then the more I learn about it, I'm like,
mhm.
I might be ADHD.
Yes.
This
Yes.
and this plays into, I think, the like naivete feels, I don't know if that's the appropriate word, but like I'm a truth teller. I'm direct. I believe that people are also being honest when they are doing like
Mhm,
I'm not gonna
mhm,
guess your
mhm,
intentions. I'm not gonna
mhm,
like that's just not
mhm.
how my brain
Right,
works,
right.
which I gets is even more dangerous with narcissistic relationships because then we're like lambs to the slaughter.
Speaking two different languages the entire time, two different value systems, two different modes of intention, right? Like in the relationship for completely different reasons.
That's right.
And it really plays into the black woman in the workplace dynamic,
Mm,
especially when you're in a workplace that's not very diverse.
hmm.
Because what I've been thinking about lately, other cultures have a higher capacity, I think, for passive aggression, aggression, hate is really what it is, right? Passive
Yes,
aggression, microaggression, macroaggression. The world sort of incentivizes their deception, right? To wear the mask
that's right.
of nice and kind and friendly, but be a whole demon. And when you are genuine, right, and you're just like they're like, okay, let's do this. I'm just here to genuinely experience this work day. And every conversation, interaction is a strategy that you have to divine with all your, it's so draining.
That's right.
So to tie that together, I'm literally in the process. I have an appointment next month to be screened for autism. I just want to know. I just want to know because it would be nice to know, you know?
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, but early on in my journey, I was diagnosed with PTSD and major depressive disorder. And
Hmm.
so learning how to work through that has been helpful. But recently here, I used my diagnosis to request accommodations through the ADA.
Mm.
And I have that documented now. So if I ever work for anyone, I have documented requirement to work from home,
Yes.
to avoid group settings, even in virtual spaces, work with my camera off, avoid like small groups or face-to-face evaluations, to receive evaluative feedback in writing,
Hmm.
right? Because it takes away that ambiguous opportunity for them to infuse hate into what they're saying or
Mm.
doing or how they're looking or how they're perceiving you. Just like, we don't actually need to be in the same room. I just need to do my job and you need to pay me,
That's
and that's
it.
it.
That's it.
Yep.
I don't want to do none of this social part. Let's
None of
just,
it.
I want to do the job, pay me, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Chit
Mm-hmm.
chat. I'm not gonna, I
Mm.
can't even do it. I feel
Girl,
you. So I'm so happy that you got that, all the documentation that you
it's
needed.
been, yeah, it's like opening up a whole new world. Okay. Because now the elements of working for someone that made it
Mm.
unbearable are removed.
Yes.
If I ever need to dip into an employment or any kind of contract, right, I can do it on my terms
Mm.
without draining my energy, without risking my mental health. And I just encourage Black women to explore that. It was not a difficult process. And if you're on this channel, you qualify for something.
Yes.
So go get screened.
Can you walk us through the process? How did you get the yeah, what would happen?
Yes. So since I already had my diagnosis on paper, that part was easy.
The
If I
PTSD and the depression?
Yes. So I already had that on paper from my therapist that I had been working with already. So
Mm.
that part I didn't have to do again. But if I were starting from scratch, it's just a matter of seeing a licensed therapist who can diagnose, who will take the time to screen you, get to know you, and help identify what you clinically qualify for.
Mm.
Once you have your diagnosis on paper, you simply disclose that diagnosis to your HR, whoever that is.
Okay.
They have their own in-house form for you to complete, probably with your medical provider. And it doesn't even have to be the same therapist. It can be
Mm.
your regular doctor.
Mm.
And um, complete that form. It's pretty straightforward. It really is. What are the accommodations that you are asking for? You basically have your medical provider um, verify it. I had ChatGPT write mine, and my doctor just verified it. So turn that into them. They have a period of time where they review it, and they're going to approve it.
Okay.
Reasonable accommodations get approved. Yes. And yeah, work from home is like low hanging fruit. Working from home, not having to be in a social setting, the ability to respond in written form rather than verbal, to
Mm.
mhm, yeah, and to get all evaluative feedback in writing. And really, the benefit there is you don't have to hear them talking about you. That's
Yes.
damaging to your psyche. Like, they need to keep you and your name out of their mouth. So anything they have to say to you about you, put it in writing so that you
Mhm.
can control the flow of how you consume that.
I
You can
love it.
filter it your own pace, right? Your own tone. And it holds them accountable for whatever they put in
Mm.
writing, right? It needs to be founded in truth. It needs to be something that you can verify, and you need to be able to, right, be held accountable for it, willing to stand on it because you put it in writing if we ever need to refer back to it.
Yeah.
So no passive aggressions, no microaggressions, no
Mm.
covert hatred that you slip in that I can't easily recall or explain or prove afterwards. None of those
Yeah.
opportunities. So yeah, that has
That's
been really
brilliant.
helpful. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank
Oh.
you. I'm
Mhm.
encouraging Black women to do that as often as possible. It seriously was easy, and it's making a world of difference. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So now you can work remotely. Were you working remotely before?
Mm. I had a contract that was hybrid, and I
Mm.
loved it. It was like the work and everything was awesome, but the commuting was, I can't do it no more. I'm not that person. But also just like the expectation to go be in a room with people and fake it even for 30 minutes was killing me. I couldn't handle it.
No.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. So that has helped. It alleviated that stress, the struggle. It's like it's easy now. You mean I can just wake up and live my life? I can do the job, but I can center my life. It doesn't have to rule over me. I don't
Yes.
have to go be perceived by them, right?
Ugh.
I don't have to go make them uncomfortable because I'm not masking for them, because I'm not seeking their validation, because I'm not faking my facial expression or my tone. I'm
Yeah.
not doing the small talk with you. I'm like almost clearly letting you know I don't care about getting to know you as a person. I'm not here for that. I'm
I'm
not
here
here
to do
for
my
it.
job.
Please don't talk to me unless it's necessary, please. I'm like, if I could have a mask on, I would. And that's just what it is.
Yes.
So, yeah, that is Yeah, especially for women who still are working in an employment environment, they're headed for retirement, they still have some goals to reach, and
Yeah.
they're not able to leave their workplace right away. That is an awesome middle ground so you can get some peace while you're still working there.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course, of course. I'm
So
so
good.
glad we were able to talk about it. Yeah, and we, as Black women, we need to know more about our mental health diagnoses. And it's not about being dramatic. It's not about claiming an illness, right? For my spiritual girlies with the church background, I know that there is, like, you can take it with a grain of salt, but it's good to know clinically what profile you fit, because
Yeah.
it's there are some keys in there to understanding yourself.
Totally. And accommodating yourself. Like we don't have to
Absolutely.
muscle through everything. We don't have to be strong for everything. We don't have to be resilient. Like we get to be taken care of, even if we weren't taken care of, even if no one
Mm,
modeled that for us. We
right.
get to decide.
Even if nobody else thinks that we deserve it, right? If they don't see it as valid, if they don't want to acknowledge it,
Yeah.
we still get to hold that space for ourselves.
Right.
And having an easier, we deserve an easier way to do it because it's harder for us. They don't have to go through all of that we go through just to show up there, just to stand there. Like, I had to make 100 changes to simply show up in this room with you. You don't even understand the risk that I'm taking, the
Hmm.
stress that I'm under. Every time you open your mouth, my central nervous system is ringing bells,
That's right.
right? And I have to just sit here and fake it. I'm supposed to be impressing you and making you think that I care about you liking me right now.
Ugh.
It's so much. We deserve to be accommodated.
Hmm.
And yeah, Black women deserve to hear that, because especially when you start getting diagnoses, when you start going to therapy, you start paying for therapy, your Black family is not necessarily going to be receptive or understanding, because that's new for us. And yeah, I think w- often we're received as being self-indulgent for
Yeah.
going to therapy, brainwashed, right? You Therapy is for white girls. What are you doing?
Not after what that to me is the most brainwashed response.
Hmm.
Because even if we look at our ancestors having come through enslavement, we need some help. That's it. Ain't nobody meant to survive what our ancestors survived and what got us here.
Right,
Ain't nobody.
right.
If we have indigenous ancestry, that too, genocide, right? Like we need as much mental, physical, spiritual, emotional support and well-being as we can get. And the fact
Hmm.
that it's demonized and like
Hmm.
considered a white thing is I think
Hmm.
a tool of
Hmm.
insanity and
Yeah.
oppression
Hmm.
because it keeps us from our well-being and our
Hmm.
healing.
Yeah. There's some Stockholm syndrome in there somewhere too. Like, the fact that we are now the ones enforcing that construct on ourselves,
Yeah.
right? Like, we literally, so we were brought here to, or this, the narrative goes, we're brought here to do work that others are dropping dead doing. So we do it and thrive and continue to do it, right? And we're still here, and we're just thriving and multiplying and shining, and we deserve some therapy.
We do.
Yeah.
It's inarguable.
Hmm.
Anyone who doesn't think that really needs therapy.
But it's scary though. It is. I think it's scary and it's threatening. At least I can say, when I started going to therapy and telling my family I'm in therapy and telling
Mm,
them, like, how much am I paying my white therapist per hour? My dad, he could not contain it. He was laughing in my face. Like, what? You paying that much to who for what? Listen, you can call me anytime. We can talk. I'll listen.
well, that's good that he would listen.
Yeah. You know what? We went through a phase between probably like 16 and 25 where I would call him in the
Mm,
middle of my crises,
yeah.
and he would do the best that he could. And, he did the best that he could. A lot of those conversations will probably make my therapist peel her skin back, but he did the best that he could. One of those conversations, he told me that I need to just get a job and be normal because I am pissing him off with this trying to be happy bullshit. That was the consensus of that session.
Oh, how did
hmm
that land for you?
Um, he's one of those people, you got to know him, right? I know how everything he says sounds crazy out of context. When you know
Okay.
him, it's still crazy, but it wasn't like, oh God. Um, but those are his real feelings, right? And
Those are
when
his real feelings. He wasn't
yes,
joking. It wasn't hee hee ha ha.
no, no, he seriously, when I try to talk to him, when I try to talk to them, that generation,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, I can't go to work anymore. How do I get you to understand that I went to college, I have the degree, I'm qualified, I can go do it, but my soul is withering, so I don't do it. I'm working a remote job that pays me like a fraction of what I can earn because I don't have to go to work. And that aligns with my values. They're like, what? What are you talking about? He told me, oh my God, the job that was literally killing me. I was slaving like 50 to 60 hours a week
Mm.
for 5K a month, 5.5K. That was like the height of all heights at that point. He told me I needed to just keep that job until I retired,
For decades?
man. And I told him, it's like it still doesn't compute. Like, you don't understand that I cannot do that.
Right.
I will die before I do that, one way or the other. I'm not going to be able to do that. Something has to change because that's not it.
Could he ever hear it? Does he hear it now?
You know, I still don't think it they don't talk about when you go to be the first generation college student, when you go to set out and do these things, it separates you from
Mm,
your kind, right? You're doing it for your people to make them proud, to validate them, to bring back whatever you can acquire that's outside of the community. You're doing it for them, but it separates you, right? It's like Joseph's coat of many colors.
yeah.
It pisses them off.
I really appreciate these biblical references in this context. It
Thank you.
really is very helpful.
Thank you. Thank you. Because they
Yes.
keep popping in here.
Yeah.
There's a thread here because there's like an archetype that we live. The
Yeah.
Joseph, the David, the Esther, the Peter, the like set apart,
That's right. That's right.
the Jesus, even the set apart. There's an archetype there. And I think it's helpful for us to see that a lot of what we experience is not new. It
It's very,
happens in this chosen one sacrificial lamb level that we chose.
yeah.
The abandonment, the betrayal. I think it's helpful to have that context because Jesus lived through a lot of it.
It's very helpful.
So
It's
you know you're not crazy, right?
and that it's okay to choose yourself and to
hmm
choose authenticity. There's when I was in the years ago, but still on the narcissistic no contact journey.
hmm
I can't remember if I read a book or it was an audio book or something, but it was telling the story of Jesus when he went to the town, village, wherever, with Mary and Joseph.
hmm
And he stayed at the temple and
hmm
they went home and they were looking for him. And they were like, and they finally, I guess he came home eventually, or they either went looking back for him or he came home. I can't remember which one. And they were like, "Where were you?" And he was like, I was minding my business. I was doing what I was supposed to do
Yes.
at the temple with God. What that's
Yes.
and the story, it was in a book about narcissistic abuse, like a Bible-based story,
hmm
book
hmm
maybe, but it was like, that's individuation.
hmm
Jesus was like, "You're my parents. I'm glad did what you had to do to get me here, but I got things to do that ain't got nothing to
Yeah.
do with
Yeah.
you." And
Yeah.
that gave me peace because I was like, to your point, I was like, "Oh yeah, Jesus is out here doing."
hmm
He had to individuate,
hmm
whether they understood it or not.
Right.
Individuation isn't wrong. Like,
Right.
and I think that's, if nothing else, that's the dominant
hmm
message I got was like,
Yeah.
The cage is big, but you're still in it, right? You
Right.
cannot individuate.
Right. That purpose that's within you is going to expand. It's going to bear down on the limitations that you accept if you try to live a life that's not your highest timeline.
That's exactly right. It's suffocating.
Yes. Yes. And there's agony in that. Like I have to get out of here. I cannot dim my light to please you. I can't do it. I
That's
can
right.
try. I did it for as long as I could, but I can't just muffle the truth of who I am to fit into the role you need me to play for you. And really, what I'm doing is stopping you from your healing because as long as I sit here and let you harness all of my power, I let you use me as your crutch, as your numbing substance, so that you don't have to do the real work for yourself. But if I go do my healing, if you go see, if I go and manifest the height of my power, simply seeing that is going to cause you to shift.
You know what, Danny? It's so interesting because people talk about like guilt and shame often in the no contact work, and
Mhm,
it's not easily accessible for me. Like I don't feel it
mhm.
on the surface.
Yeah.
But what you're naming, that's where the deep-seated
Yeah.
guilt comes in.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
idea of doing better than my mother.
Mm,
That's
yes.
where the guilt comes in.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
where the like be I realized oh, this is jacked me up. This is what has jacked me up is that the messaging that I got was I should be successful, but not
Mhm.
more successful than my mother
Yeah.
because that is
Yeah.
betraying her. She's the
Yes.
only one who gets to be successful to the
Yeah.
highest success. I remember this
Mhm.
before I went no contact, but I was still in Mexico, so I was just getting close. And I was like, I'm thinking about going to a PhD program. I was thinking about it.
Mhm.
And her response was so, because my mom has two master's degrees.
Mhm.
I come from a lineage of college educated people.
Yeah.
So that was the expectation. To not do that
Right.
was not
Right.
acceptable. But to do
Right.
better than that was also not acceptable. So when I was like, I'm
Yeah.
thinking about getting a PhD, I can't articulate in words
Mhm.
her response, but I felt it and I heard it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, she don't want me to get a PhD. I didn't have the language yet. I didn't know what it
Mhm.
meant, but I
Right.
remember in my body, right? I was like, oh,
Yeah.
she doesn't like that idea.
Yeah.
If I were to fully articulate it, it was jealous and
Mhm.
competitive,
Mhm.
right? Like she
Mhm.
didn't say anything. It wasn't,
Right.
but it was like
Mhm.
if I'm gonna try my
Uh.
best, but it was like, oh, something like that, right? Like very,
Mhm. Mhm.
oh, oh,
Mhm.
I can't, oh, so subtle that you would have to really know what you were hearing, but I
Mhm.
heard it,
What you're not hearing.
and what you're not hearing. Right?
Mhm.
It wasn't like, oh, that's a great idea, babe. Go do your thing. You will be a great professor or what.
Mhm. Mhm.
No, it was
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
because I had to get my degree to make her look good. Right. If I didn't do that, then it would look like she had failed in her
Right.
thinking. But
Right.
if I got something that she didn't have,
Now you outshining her. You
now
doing
I'm not
too
shining her.
much. Mhm.
And that's how I knew I was hypnotized, right? Like I was, but that's, and when I say that that has jacked me up, that has jacked me up financially.
Yeah.
I can't make more money than my mom. I can't, and I
Yeah.
can't be more successful than, and she's successful, right? Like,
Yeah.
but as long as I'm under her,
Mhm.
that's my place. And that is what
Right.
I'm unlearning. That is what
Yeah.
I'm still unlearning that
Yeah.
because the cage is big, right? I can travel, I can do all this stuff. Like that's not competing with my mom, right? That's
Right. That's
because she
safe.
right.
Mhm.
But when I try to,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm still unlearning
Mhm.
here.
Yeah, that makes so much that is really resonating. Um, so I've been thinking about the generational freedom, right? The difference between the curse and the freedom. So the curse is what we live under, right? The curse affects us here on earth in our waking life. The way that we live our life is cursed when we live under that system, that system of belief. When we do the work to come out from underneath the curse and we step into the freedom, it changes the way that we live our life.
Hmm.
Our daily experience becomes more abundant, becomes higher quality, right? We have to
Hmm.
live in a way that is elevated above what we come from. And yes, there's fear. Yes, there is guilt, but there is shame and grief that we feel on such a deep level. It's hard to articulate it. You have to work to pull it to the surface. Like, what is that I'm feeling? What are these
That's
money
it.
blockages? Why am I like hesitant to go full throttle? What is it? Because we're really afraid of our own success because we know it's going to not only separate us from the ones that we love and want to be close with, it's going to disappoint them.
Mm.
It's because they're not on our team and we
Because they're
love
not
them
on
so
the
much, we want to side with them against ourselves. It's going to disappoint them for us to be as successful as we can be because they don't want to see that.
That's the part. When I said the shock earlier, that's the part that I'm
Hmm.
still rewiring my brain.
Hmm.
Because that's the truth. They don't want to see, they want it to a certain degree, as long as we make them look good.
Hmm.
But beyond that, they don't want it.
Because now it makes them look bad. It's one thing when you turn the light up to a certain level. Okay, this is flattering light. We'll accept this light, but you get to turn the light up too bright. Now you can see too many things. Now I
Ooh,
no longer look good because this light is too bright. But that's why it creates distance because your light is shining so bright, they cannot be right up on you. It's too bright. You have to separate yourself. You're going to be at a distance because
I,
they are not vibrating in the same frequency as you and your light when it's shining. That's why you
that's
can't coexist.
I agree. I'm like, it's the facts. But it's
Yes.
but slash and it still creates isolation.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Mm-hmm.
hard part. It's like all of that's true. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
isolation is terrible.
It's like, okay, so I'm shining, right? I'm shining my light. People are being blessed by the light, even. I'm blessed by the light. This is great. And
Right.
also, when do I get to turn the light off? Who's going to shine their light on me? Is there a bigger light that comes around that makes me feel less like the sun? Do I get a break? I think the answer is still loading.
Right. I'm like, you tell me. I don't know. No.
But what's coming to mind, right, is like a star set in its own space has a gravitational pull.
Yes.
And right, other stars are also shining their lights. When you establish yourself as a star, when you accept the truth of your own light and you shine it, you set yourself amongst a backdrop of others who are also shining their light. And I think that is when you find chosen family, right? When you find aligned connection and relationship that doesn't drain you, that doesn't feel like a gauntlet that you're throwing yourself into,
Yeah.
that you have to survive. But right, you can't align with the people who are shining if you're not shining yet. If you're still trying to dim your light to stay comfortable and to please the people who don't want to see that for you, right? You're still betraying yourself to please them, then you don't find that alignment.
That's where, when I'm thinking about money in particular, that's been my relationship with, because I grew up in a material, financially successful family, right? Like I never needed for anything. I come from multi-generational financial stability. It was
Mhm.
fine. But that all, I have no access to that. It's not mine, right? I didn't, and if I don't exist to them, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had to learn how to create money on
Mm-hmm.
my own.
Yeah.
And not just like I've had a business for a long time, not like that, but like I don't know how to articulate it, but it's like I've had to create my own engine around money,
Mm-hmm.
not relying on, because the thing is that what I mean, there are lots of things that are jacked up about narcissism, but the
Yeah.
thing is, in a healthy family environment, or and I'm not saying that all people who pass down money are healthy, but if people who sometimes they are healthy, but when especially black folk, it's
Mm-hmm.
healthy to pass down money because you know how hard it is for us to get money, right? Like if you have money, if you have resources to pass it down, to share what you have because you know how hard. So for me, at my big age, to be figuring out how to make money is a lesson I never thought I would have to learn in this way. Like I have friends who grew up without a lot of money, who grew up, you know, from not a lot of money and
Yeah.
knew that they didn't have a lot of money and
Yeah.
knew that they were going to have to figure it out as children. They knew that their parents weren't going to pass down nothing. They weren't going to.
Mm-hmm.
So they knew this
Mm-hmm.
their whole lives.
Right.
That's not my, that's
Mm.
not what I knew.
Yeah.
So I'm now having to recognize that and accept it as a very grown adult.
Mm-hmm.
And it's learning, it's a whole different skill set
Mm-hmm.
because my mom essentially is like, I'm taking my toys and going home.
Yeah.
You have boundaries?
Mm.
Oh, you have access to nothing,
Right.
nothing.
Right.
And I'm like, why did y'all create generational wealth? Like, what's the point if
Mm-hmm.
you're the only generation who's benefiting from it?
Mm.
I don't, but at the same time, I'm like, it's not my money. So I don't want to, I don't want to be I don't want to
Right.
be entitled to or act like or think
Right.
that I'm entitled to something that's not mine because it's not
Right.
mine. But in the healthy family dynamic, it's
Mm-hmm.
not about hoarding,
Right. Right. Withholding.
withholding,
Mhm. And
withholding. That's it.
hmm yeah.
Dangling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Manipulating. Financial abuse is a part of it, especially when the abuse is covert.
You mentioned this on the panel. Will you say more about that?
Yes. Oh my goodness. So when I first started coaching, I worked with everybody.
Mm,
And for a while, I was working with people all around the world, male, female, various ethnicity, nationalities, socioeconomic status. And I learned that this playbook is the same no matter
mm,
what. No matter what. The playbook is the same. And more likely than not, in cases where the abuse is not physical or sexual, it's always emotional, psychological, but financial plays into it, whether the male, female, no matter what. Always
mm.
financial abuse plays into it because it's a part of that dynamic with the parent and the child. Because although you don't want to feel entitled, right? That's you checking your self-awareness as an adult, especially because we're so easily labeled as entitled when we go no contact with our parent. But your parent is supposed to take care of you.
True. That is like the simplest, but it's,
Yeah.
but yes, please continue. Please continue. Yes.
The parent is supposed to take care of you. It's not now, right? For some, it's a luxury. So it's like we feel like we shouldn't even say, like, why aren't you leaving me money? Why aren't you like if we have money, what? Why wouldn't you give me money? Are you kidding me? You want me to be a slave? So you liberated
Yes.
yourself so I could be a slave? It doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
And it comes along with that unconditional love, right? Like the five love languages.
Mm,
I like to tell clients because we get confused about love, especially when we've been gaslit and mind controlled with fake love. A great way to objectively measure if the person you're in a relationship with loves you is if they engage in those five languages in some way.
Mm.
So, maybe your parent is not the parent who lavishes you with gifts, but if they see you struggling financially and they have no inherent instinct to help you, something is off. That's hate instead of love. Yeah.
I appreciate you naming that because again, the shame and the guilt isn't on the surface for me, but that is also a trigger for me. Like asking for my mother's money and financial
Hmm.
support, I feel
Hmm.
guilty. Like I should not need to. I should have this to get. I should, right? That's where the shoulds come in
Hmm.
because of that's the guilt that's been
Hmm.
why, and the shame is why don't you have it? Like why haven't you, whatever, amassed the same kinds
Yeah.
of wealth that my mother has?
Yeah.
That I appreciate you naming that because it is so subversive
Mm-hmm.
and covert. It is
Mm-hmm.
because it's laced, especially in capitalism. It's like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You should,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but this, it is manipulation. And you naming that there's not an alarm that goes off like, let me help my child.
Yeah.
No, it's pay to play. It's like, if
Mm-hmm.
you haven't done this,
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Mm-hmm.
know you.
Right. Your suffering does not move me unconditionally.
Ooh,
Sometimes your suffering serves my purpose. Yeah. Yeah. That's never appropriate in a mother-daughter relationship.
suffering to prove a point. Like what is that the purpose?
It's about punishment. Again, oh my God, it sounded so much like that documentary about the cult. It's punishment. You spoke
Ugh,
out, you broke rank, you
ugh,
deviated from the programming. You need to go back into treatment. You need to
ugh.
suffer. You need to be punished. You need to be resubmitted to the system so that you, next time, your central nervous system is so fried that you do not fight back, you don't deviate, you don't resist, you just play into the system.
Oh, Danny, that is exactly it. And this is the thing. Okay, this is the thing. I'm having a whole moment over here right now because I'm always, my sibling has children, three kids, is divorced, but was unmarried when had the first kid, blah, 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 blah. Like, didn't go to college, very much on paper. And I'm not saying these are not my values, but very much on paper, uh, the rebel that I've been assigned,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Like all of these quote unquote deviant behaviors
Hmm.
outside of the Black respectability thing that we were raised inside of,
Hmm.
but is in the fold, right? Is
Hmm.
in the fold. Now, my mother has let my sister and her three children live in a homeless shelter when my mom has this very gorgeous, beautiful art house with four empty bedrooms.
Hmm.
But my sister paid the piper and is now back in the fold. I did not pay the piper.
Hmm.
And so I am still
Hmm.
out in
Yes.
reality. To the public
Yes.
world, she's, doing all the things.
Hmm.
But in the real world, I'm not paying the piper. So I'm still on the outs where my
Right.
sibling pays the piper.
Hmm.
And when I was still, my stepsister was still talking to me, told my stepsister, my biological sibling told our stepsister that
Hmm.
they understood why I stopped talking to people.
Yeah.
They're like, no, but they didn't.
Right. Because it's hard.
It is very hard.
It's hard. Yeah. Man, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. And even the ones who get close to you, honestly, I think that's why they end up turning against you because they're close enough to see
How hard it
all,
is.
yes, how hard it is, all that you go through, how you endure. And they know, even if they have the inkling that maybe they could or would do it, they're so relieved that you're doing it and not them, that they don't have to be the one to do it. So they'll coexist with you. They will share space. They'll agree with you until it costs them, until their allegiance with you costs them the favor of the narcissist in power, because they will happily let you hold the space of scapegoat, of sacrifice, of victim, even if they're not the one actively attacking you, even if they just silently enable it, because it's how they are protecting themselves. I don't know what scary movie is flashing in my mind. It's like five or six different. This is terrifying.
It
It
is.
is.
Because it's not how humans are made.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is not how we're supposed to, we do not
Mm-hmm.
function like this.
Yeah.
It's no one, it's no wonder many of us are not well because it's not functional. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not, we can't, it's not sustainable. We can't
Mm-hmm.
live like this, really.
Because if we boil it down, it's hate. This is about hate and love. I think this time that we're living through right now, the veil is being separated, right? Good from evil, light from dark. It's being separated. So at the root of this is hatred. Hatred for self, therefore hatred for our offspring. And
Mm,
if we as black women, if we get deep enough into our healing bag, we're going to pull out some hate that does not belong to us. And when we do that, we can give that hate back to whom it belongs to,
yes. Yes.
and they can deal with their own emotional artifacts, right? Because we get to separate what belongs to us. That's what you do when you go no contact. When you're trying
That's
to
right.
align your identity to who you want to be, like how much of this is me, how much of this is her, so I can start to take inventory and get things in order here. So if we dig deep enough into what is at the root of this for us, it's the hate for our own divinity that we've been fed, that we have internalized, and we're now feeding it to our children, right? But we get to be the generation that says, actually, I'm not going to eat this, and I'm certainly not going to serve it to the next generation.
Hmm. Hmm. How do you find community? How does isolation affect you?
Yes, absolutely. I think it is. I would say that's probably the forefront of my healing journey. Like what I'm actively working on right now is balancing isolation with connection,
Hmm.
and I still haven't found a perfect balance. What I'll say is that the isolation has more benefit than detriment, because for one thing, I'm safe.
Yeah.
Right? Like my energy is not being drained by an abuser on any front of my life. And that I could just shout right now. That is a
Mm.
win. So even when I get lonely or bored or like disillusioned because I haven't been closely connected, I'm able to ground and reconnect with my purpose in isolation.
Mm.
And it doesn't feel empty,
Yeah.
There's purpose in this isolation. I worked to get to this isolation.
Mm.
So when it comes to finding connection, I think it's more important for me now that I am choosing alignment over convenience, and that I'm being mindful about the energy that I reach for, because even if it is through social media, right, I have to be thoughtful about not reaching out to what's familiar, because that's the most comforting. And what is actually most aligned is not always comforting,
Mm.
because it's a representation of where I'm going and what I want. It's challenging. So I think that season is coming. There's a time for that. It feels like it's approaching. It may not be right at this moment, but I feel I'm headed in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something that kind of took over my brain for a few days was liminal space, just this
Mm.
concept of liminal space being scary
Mm.
and trying to understand why. And then it clicked like, okay, wait a minute. When you go no contact with your parent, your family system, you are casting yourself into this unknown space,
Yeah.
a transitional place that you're not meant to stay, but you're not going to leave for a while, right? And it's kind of like when you're stuck in the airport for an extremely long layover, right? Like after a while, even if there are lots of things for you to do in the liminal space, you still have that boredom and that exhaustion that kicks in, because I'm here, but I'm at rest, but I'm not at home. I'm still on alert because this is not the ultimate destination I'm headed to, right? So I'm just kind of spinning my wheels in this between. And this particular healing journey is many liminal spaces strung together. It's one of those trips. Some trips are simple and easy.
Yeah.
To the airport, you
In
got a
and out.
straight shot, yep, to your destination. Simple, cathartic almost, because you don't have to do anything. But
Yeah.
other trips, it's like the Uber to the bus station, to the terminal, to the other terminal, then the bus to the tarmac, and then the
Oh,
train to the
yeah.
one of those trips. This is one of those trips where it's like I'm constantly arriving in a new destination that is not my ultimate location, and I'm not at rest. I can't be comfortable, but I am purposely
Moving.
moving
Yeah.
toward where I'm going. So I think it helps to adjust our expectation. You're passing through everywhere that you are right now. So it makes sense that you would not necessarily be rooted in a community.
I'll appreciate that.
Thank you. That
Yeah.
took some doing, right? Like it makes
Yes.
sense that you are not planted where you ultimately belong yet, but you're positioning yourself for that.
Because ultimately, no contact is a life upheaval. Nothing stays the same because, like we've talked about, it may seem like it's no contact with one person, but it's a system.
Mhm.
So everything changes.
Everything, all of your relationships, because you
All of
set that one boundary. If you set the boundary with someone else, it might not be as pervasive. But because it's your mother, if you're going to set that boundary and hold it up with your own mother, after that, you can't let anybody else violate the same boundary.
you can't. You
It,
you really can't.
it doesn't work.
Nope. I'm
It's
like,
like,
if I don't talk to my mom, you think I'm gonna take that from you? Oh no.
why would you think I'm about to let you sit here and play? If
In
that's
my
the case, I
face.
would just let my mom do it. At,
Hello.
at least that's my mom.
Hello.
Yeah. So it is. It's an identity crisis, and you can't go back. There is no going back.
There's no going back.
Which is why some people choose to silence themselves instead of own their truth, right? Because if you fully stand in your truth, you can't take it back the next day or the next week or the next year when it's hard. And the next time that you're faced with having to fake an identity or stick it out with this authenticity that you've chosen, right? You're constantly going to have to do the harder thing. you're constantly going to have to make the more responsible decision.
That is exhausting alone. Like if you're sharing some of the load
Mhm,
in community or family or
mhm,
whatever, then yeah, it just is lighter because you're sharing the load.
mhm,
But doing it alone is exhaust. That's why I just move slower. It takes me a few days to respond to
mhm,
email.
mhm,
It
mhm.
just does. I
Yeah.
can't, I've given myself that permission to not have other
Mhm,
timelines,
mhm.
the timelines of supported people.
Yes. That's the freedom right there. That is the generational freedom right there. Because you see, when you have to stand in that truth, you also get a level of privilege, a level of wealth that you could not otherwise access. Where
Mm.
now you just easily say, like, oh yeah, you can take a week to respond to that email if you need to. Bump that email. I mean, like you're you're the only one running your life. So
That's it.
if the email has to wait, it has to wait
And
because
that is freedom.
it is. And the fact that you can live in that safe space, your inner child can live in that safe space where she can be herself
Yeah.
and not be subject to judgment and correction and ridicule because she's not living in the
Rules.
cage that the matrix built for her,
That's right.
that says you're supposed to empty that inbox every day. Do you want people to judge you? Do you want people to think that you're not responsive? Do you want people not
This
to take you seriously professionally?
this is where that autism kicks in too, because I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, I really
I
don't.
don't care. And I don't have the
Mm-hmm.
external influence. Like there's no one saying it for me to say I don't care to. I I just don't care.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like, I
Oh,
don't even know. What were you
that
gonna say?
freedom right there. That freedom to like, I don't care. This is genuinely how I feel and who I am. I don't care. I'm not oppressed into faking that I care. That is what disarms and threatens them.
This is the thing, Danny. This is the thing. This is what I mean though. I just don't this is why I started thinking that I was autistic. It's
Mm-hmm.
because I realized that I don't understand people. I don't understand the rules.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the rules. I don't care to know the rules. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care about the rules. But
Mm-hmm.
then I was like, all those other people are living according to these
Mm-hmm.
rules
Mm-hmm.
and judging me according to them,
Mm-hmm.
measuring me according to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know them. I don't care to know them. And they have built whole worlds around these rules that they also hate.
Yeah, that's why you piss them off because you're totally liberated from the rules and you're surviving. The Matrix tells them they break too many rules, they're going to be homeless.
That's right. That is exactly what they're told.
If you want to survive, if you want to have food and water and shelter and basic humanity, you have to follow the rules, right? Actually, a family member was telling me you have to work hard to make a lot of money. To correct me for saying, like, actually, I'm going to find an easier way
Yes.
to make my money. I'm not slaving. I'm not going to do that.
Yes.
No way am I working 40 years for anybody
At all.
at all. Nothing close. 4 years is too long. So, but yeah, you have to work hard to make a lot of money.
Because they're in the matrix. They're in the rules.
Right. Right. And if
What did they
you,
say? Are they jealous of you?
man, it be your own people.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's all good for you to make a lot of money when it's $100,000. When you have to slave 40 to 50 to 60 hours a week to get it. right? And then when you have to pay the escalated, right, it breaks down to you have a little bit of money left over. Nothing too threatening. But you break out of the matrix that I dedicated my whole life to, my whole claim to fame. I sacrificed my
For you.
entire opportunity to know myself as an individual.
Ooh,
I sacrificed myself to be a good slave, and you about to not be a slave?
and make more money than me?
That, no way. I have to label you, shame you, judge you, find some reason to separate from you because I can't be close to the manifestation that you're creating. My demons will pop out. I will shapeshift. I can't do it. To be faced with all that I've lost, that I sacrificed, that was stolen from me with these lies, with this system, the entire system is a lie. That's some devastation. That's like next level.
Ooh,
And it's much easier to get mad at the black sheep and just stick another sword in them. They're already the sacrifice. They're already the sacrifice. And yeah, you know all the details about what everybody else did to them and how it was wrong. And it was, but yeah, but they already got nine
already
swords in their back.
sacrificed.
Yeah. Yep. Just pick a narrative, use it, and go stand with everybody else. Act like you never knew them.
That's exactly it.
Yeah. You just stand there and watch everybody crucify them, act like you never knew them, so you don't get crucified.
That is so weak.
It is. It is. And that's hell. That's the misery. That's the misery because now you cannot be at peace with yourself because you're a lie. It's a lie. You're lying to yourself. So, in the peace and quiet of you looking yourself in the mirror, you and your inner child, you're at odds. She doesn't trust you because you're lying to her. So now you're at war within. And the only peace, now demons in hell, the only peace that they have from the hellfire that afflicts them is their ability to harm another in the fire. That's the only relief that they have is to torment the one next to them. That's some true misery. Your only relief.
But it makes so much sense about the world and the culture and everything that we're inside of right now. People are miserable
Mhm.
and they are taking it out on everybody. Instead of doing their own healing, they're just taking it out on whoever's close enough.
Whoever is the appropriate target. And again, it comes back to that battle of light and dark. Very yin and yang, very much, because it's the ones who have the worldly privilege, who have the gilded cage and the appearance of what should be happiness,
Mm,
who lack it. And when they encounter someone who has that abundance, that joy, they have to put it out, right? It becomes their personal mission to put that light out because it shines on their own darkness, right? The absence of light within them.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a very, very special path.
It is. It
It
doesn't know
is.
it's not always a smooth pavement,
Mhm,
but it is a special path. And
mhm.
it's a liberatory path,
Yes.
which requires death of a lot of things
Hmm. Hmm.
to get to freedom.
Yes, death is a part of it.
It really it's
Hmm.
it's unavoidable.
Hmm. Hmm. So interesting, right? Because it could, in a perfect world, it would just be easy. But if you really want it, you have to die for it.
Ooh. Ooh.
Seriously, and there's no
Avoid you
hyperbole
there's
in
no
that.
way no, there's no way around it.
Yeah.
If you but you saying that is the freedom. That's the permission slip.
Hmm.
Because then there's no more clinging on to anything, identity, life, nothing.
Yep.
It's the permission to die for it, for
Yep.
freedom,
Yep.
but not in a martyr way, but like in a real
Hmm.
releasing
Hmm.
of the old.
Absolutely. It's the detachment
Yeah.
of Buddhism, right? The letting go of your attachments, but it's also the picking up of your cross and bearing it, because you don't get crucified on accident. You have to pick that cross up and walk yourself to Calvary, and you don't do it in your own strength. I think that's the part that
Mm,
we have to center, right?
yeah,
Because you're not picking up a cross and marching to Calvary being mocked and slapped and spit on. You don't have to do it. You're not
you
doing it
don't
in
have
your
to
own
do it.
strength. You could
That's right.
stay. You could go back to your hometown and, you know, play your little role. You could please them. You could dim your light, and you could have community. You could have some semblance of family. You could have
Ugh,
normalcy. You could have it.
who wants it like that though? I guess
Right.
plenty of people do. I don't.
Right.
I don't. I can't pretend.
And I think there's a distinguishing factor there. There's something in you that has to have the truth.
100%.
Hmm.
100%. I'm only interested in the truth. I'm only interested in
Hmm.
telling the truth. I'm only
Hmm.
interested in hearing the truth. Like
Right.
I don't care about lies. I have no capacity for them.
Right. And the world, the matrix, the system, it's built on lies. And if you want to coexist, if you want to belong in the system, lies become your currency.
Gross.
So if you're not willing, you become the outcast. You can't buy or sell, right? Because you didn't take the mark. You don't have access to the currency anymore. You've chosen this safer, nobler path that protects your integrity, as who you are as a person, but you have to pay the price of belonging to the world. And it really is a divine, it's almost like the circle of life that we have
Mm.
to, right? Because you have to die for it, or you will slowly die in your life going through the motions
Yeah,
and show up on the other side regretful because you just lived a whole lie.
exactly. I don't want that.
Yeah, what
I
was
mean,
it
I
for?
could, even if I wanted it, I couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm incapable.
Mm-hmm.
I would, and that's what I say all the time. I will choose myself again and again and again every time.
Mm-hmm.
I will choose
Right.
the truth, my truth again and again every time. Like that sounds like a suffocating death. Like I can't do it. I just am incapable of doing it.
I think it's blasphemy. I think that's what it really is. It's like
Yeah.
a embodied blasphemy,
Yeah.
because you're denying the God within you, the
A
truth
hundred
within you.
percent. A hundred
Yeah.
percent. 100%
To bow down to the world, to
of
please
illusion.
people. Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
right.
You downgrade the authority of your own intuition, your own truth, your own self, which is divine and eternal,
Absolutely.
to please the temporal,
That's right.
and you lose yourself to it.
That's right. That's why when I was like, "Oh, I've been conditioned that my mom is my higher power." Only my higher power.
Hmm.
She's not the authority of my life.
Right.
But I didn't even know that that's how I was operating.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you for you, Danny. Thank you for everything that you do and
Thank you.
everything that you are. I appreciate your wisdom and your brilliance so much.
Thank you.
Your
I
generosity of spirit. Thank you.
Thank you. I received that. I really appreciate it. And I just have to give it right back to you. Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you for sharing, for being an open book in this way, but also an example.
Mm, thank you.
So I just know so many Black women will have an easier go at this simply because there are women who have gone before them who said the thing out loud that they were not supposed to say, that they didn't hear a Black woman say,
Yeah.
right? That's the height of the journey. The actualizing of the self is being able to use what you've experienced to help another. So yes, thank you for owning it.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
I so appreciate you being here. This is such a rich and valuable conversation. I'd really thank you for just opening up and pouring out for my audience, and I look forward to inviting you back. Thank you seriously for being here.
Thank
I really
you. It's been an
appreciate it.
honor. And I wore this shirt in honor of our conversation.
Yes, breaking
Breaking.
generational curses since conception. Yes. Yes, that is the yeah, the cycle breaker, the black sheep, the misfit, the outcast, the scapegoat.
That's it. We were
Yeah.
we were born for it. That doesn't make
Mhm.
it easy.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it easy, but like you said, this is our paths. Our
Mhm.
paths are unique,
Yes.
and it's not easy. We make it look good, but it's
Yeah.
not
But it's
easy.
not, it is possible though. It is
It is
possible.
possible.
And I love how the end is not written yet because we're still living it.
Yeah.
I think there's something really powerful about that that says we are walking in our present moment purpose,
Yeah.
right? Maybe to tie it up with the biblical reference. So everything that we are experiencing now, our place in humanity is happening in the space between the book of Jude and the
Mm.
end of the book of Revelation.
Mm.
That's
Mhm.
it's the only portion of scripture that has been, that hasn't lived yet, that we haven't already seen happen.
Mm.
So Jesus said that we would do the same works that he did and greater works.
Yes.
And I love how unqualified that statement is, how open-ended it is, how it
Yes.
really is up to us.
Yes.
So the fact that we are living into a freedom, an abundance, a blessing, a wealth that is both here and arriving at the same time, I think is really beautiful, vulnerable, delicate, and it's an honor to hold this space and to do it with you. So
It
seriously,
is an
thank you
honor.
for
Thank
joining.
you. Thank
Yes.
you.
Of course. Thank you. This felt so good to share. I think so many people will be blessed by this. Before we wrap up, do you have any services or resources
Mm.
that you would like to share?
Yes. Wait, when is this going to be out in the world?
I am not sure yet. Probably July.
Okay. So I offer one-on-one calls called the Alignment Hour, where I help women. I only work with women, figure out where they're stuck, what might be blocking them. And we really look at that and then create a path forward. And then I'm also launching School of the Well Rested, which is a 4-week virtual retreat for rest and ease and creating the life that you want without exhaustion or burnout. So
Wow.
I'll share the links with you.
Yes, thank you. That sounds amazing. I'm going to check that out myself.
Wonderful.
Ah, well, man, so much here. It's almost like I don't even want to close the book, but we'll close it here for now. As always, I'm Danny Ellison. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I hope that this helps.
Thank you.